We're back for the second time tonight, and we have people playing Magic, we think.
On camera, in fact.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It turns out if you kick the cord out of the plug, you can't stream.
Kids, modern technology is great, but it's not perfect. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. So, what have we here? We have...
Okay, it looks like Eric's on the left and Austin's on the right.
We should probably fill in the names there, yeah?
Yeah.
Left player and right player. We're not sure who those players are.
I'm sure who they are.
They are players, though. That I can tell you. All right, okay. We're gonna wing it. We're gonna wing it. And then...
That's definitely wrong, though.
Is that wrong?
Pretty sure. Are you sure Eric's not on the left?
Fairly confident Eric is on the right.
Oh, okay. Probably right.
All right. Wow, the players have names. What did we say about modern technology?
All right, so Eric looked at his opening hand, and I only got to see it for a second, but it looked like it was pretty land heavy. I saw a forest and a mountain, and I suspect, based on his deck list, if he had both a forest and a mountain and a third land and the rest were spells, he probably would have kept. So I suspect he was mulliganing towards some action.
Yeah, it's very nice of these players to wait for us to even resolve mulligans. And it appears that Eric will be doing a lot of that.
You know, dinosaurs tend to roam in packs, and it's really important to have a 7-card hand, I think, with this
that
deck.
depends on the type of dinosaur. If we've learned anything from Jurassic Park, it is that velociraptors hunt in packs, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex hunts alone.
That is true.
Are there any Tyrannosaurus Rexes in Eric's deck?
All the big dinosaurs are good with other dinosaurs in this format. I just noticed something on Austin's deck list.
Yeah.
Which, I hate to say this, but is almost certainly wrong.
Almost certainly wrong.
There's one opt in the sideboard.
I mean, I don't know how wrong it is.
What matchup do you want to go from 0 to 1 ops?
All of them? You at least want to have the option.
All right. We're stream NA. So
I think Eric has kept 5 cards. And that's an Ifnir Dreadlands? Deadlands? Some kind of desert there.
Yeah, it's an Ifnir Deadlands.
And a treasure map. Treasure map being one of the actually playable flip cards from Ixalan. Most of them aren't. And then I believe that is a mana guy that can... He
makes your dinosaurs cost 1 less,
right,
and can give a dinosaur haste.
That is true. All of the things you just said are correct, but it's dead.
Hit the bin. Fatal push.
So we will not be seeing any hasty dinosaurs.
Just yet. Unclear. Unclear.
But the good news is that Eric has 3 lands, and 2 of them are duels, so his mana is online. It's going to be a matter of if he can find meaningful spells to play. And here's one, a Braid on the treasure map. There will be no treasure found yet. Maybe later.
Maybe later. So it's important to note that Austin's deck really heavily relies on creating treasure tokens, because that's basically the only way he can win.
Yeah, I mean, he's all in on that. He can win by attacking with the dudes.
Guys,
he's got a Scarab God that's a win condition, and actually he's also got...
Is there a Scarab God in the main?
There is one Scarab God in the main deck, okay. and actually my favorite thing that he's doing is he has 2 copies of Marionette Master in his deck, which...
That's quite good.
Can actually just kill your opponent if you have, 5 treasures? 5 treasures.
Yep.
If they're at 20.
Yep. And we see an impulse on end step from Austin. I'm assuming to find a land.
I don't...
plays his land
was that end step?
and passed, yeah.
Okay. And I'm not sure if he used his treasure map to scry in response to that Braid.
I don't believe he did. And we're going to see a second Fatal Push on the second Hasty Mana guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a good call. His deck's pretty slow, and he's not really off the ground yet. And if he can just keep the board clear for a couple more turns, it's going to be his most effective way to win, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know that Eric's deck is full of dinosaurs, seeing as how he's playing a card that makes dinosaurs cost less. But he hasn't cast any dinosaurs yet. There's one right there. Of course, it's going to get censored. That is brutal.
Doesn't feel good.
But, I mean, you got to know that he's got some number of dinosaurs in his hand. And is that a Deadeye Plunderer?
It is. It is. So, Deadeye Plunderer is a 5-mana 3/3. And when it comes into play, you get a 1/1 counter.
No, I think it just has +1/+1 for each artifact you control.
Yeah, it gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control.
So that guy is huge if you have, I don't know, 5 treasures.
Yep. And you can pay 4 mana, importantly in this deck, to make a treasure, which is quite good when one of your main win conditions is making 8 treasures.
Mm-hmm. You know, 4 mana Lotus Petals, traditionally not great.
Not optimal.
Not great. But
when they make your guy bigger and potentially win you the game, it seems like pretty.
I like winning the game. I'm a fan of that.
You have a lot of experience with that?
No,
not really.
Well,
here is my personal favorite card in the deck list. Tezzeret.
This is a spicy one. This guy makes more Lotus Petals, but it's actually pretty significant to note here that Tezzeret makes different Lotus Petals.
They are not treasures.
They are not treasures. So, it's not going to help him win the game with the mechanized production game plan. But really, it looks like he's just going to beat his opponent to death while his opponent doesn't cast any spells.
Yeah, it does appear to be the problem. Looking on Eric's deck list, I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't done more. He has 5 lands in play, and almost all of his deck costs 5 or less.
So I wonder if what he has. Maybe he just has like some removal spells, or, you know, he is playing cards like Savage, Stomp, and Rile in his deck, which require you to have a creature in play to be used. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's got some cards like that. But yeah, I mean, Eric with a mulligan to 5 here, and there we go. He's playing a Rile right now.
This is actually a really interesting interaction. What we have out here is a Ranging Raptors. So when it takes damage, you get a. Ooh, we are currently watching.
Incorrect.
Yeah, we are currently watching a.
That's okay.
Game rules violation.
That's okay. You know, there's not a lot we can do about that.
Yeah, we can't.
It's unlucky. That's really unlucky. But we'll make sure to
explain that interaction.
Let Eric know that is not the proper way to resolve that spell.
For those of you out there that are not fully up on Ixalan, Ranging Raptors has enrage, so whenever it takes damage, you can explore basically. You get a land from your library and put it into play tapped, a basic land.
Mm-hmm.
So what he does is cast Rile on his own guy to give it trample and deal 1 damage to it.
Yeah.
And then Rile also draws a card. So theoretically, the resolution of the spell should happen in order. So it should take 1 damage. Trigger should go on the stack. He should draw a card, and then the trigger will resolve, allowing him to put the land into play.
Correct. And is that commune with dinosaurs now?
It is.
And that's a good one there. That's Regisar Alpha. Broodmate Dinosaur. Yes?
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair So, Regisar Alpha is a 4/4. Right?
4/4.
With trample.
That is correct.
And when it comes into play, it makes a 3/3 dinosaur with haste.
No, it makes a 3/3 dinosaur also with trample, but it gives haste to all other dinosaurs. So, when he plays that Regisar Alpha, and assuming it doesn't die, which seems unlikely at this point, all the dinosaurs he plays for the rest of the game will have haste. Now, all of the dinosaurs he casts for the rest of the game might be 0 dinosaurs, because Eric's about to die.
He's definitely going to cast 1 dinosaur right here.
And that's Regisar Alpha.
Unfortunately, yeah. I do believe that that dinosaur is significantly better when it's not on defense.
Which one? Which one are we?
Regisar Alpha.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean...
It plays defense fine, but if you're playing that card, you don't want to be playing defense.
Well, and you know, the thing is, I think he might actually be priced into attacking this Tezzeret with the token, because the Tezzeret on 4 loyalty can actually just act as a double removal spell. Well, it doesn't matter because it's going to get countered anyway.
And I think that's going to wrap it up.
Yeah, the game is over. The game is over.
So, Matt, why don't you talk about some of the new cards in Ixalan and some of the choices in these decks? I'm going to go out and point out a couple things to our players.
Okay. All right. Learn them real good. Oh, wow. That was...
We're literally in a closet.
That was rude. Did you see that? I was just attacked. All right. So, Ixalan brought us couple new goodies. It was a heavily tribal focused set, bringing us some dinosaurs and some pirates, some merfolk, and you know, what was the other one? There's definitely another one. Pirates. Oh, the vampires, obviously, because vampires belong with dinosaurs, pirates, and merfolks. Anyway, unfortunately, and this is something that is true with a lot of sets that are centered around tribal interactions, it's really difficult to actually make those interactions good enough for constructed play. And the reason for that is because while you might have some really good cards, such as Regisar Alpha, that is, you know, they make all of the dinosaurs in your deck better, it can be hard to find enough dinosaurs that are good enough to play. Alright, I guess I'm moving over here now. Got the executive decision. Luckily, these players have decided to try out and make some of those interactions work anyway, such as the dinosaurs. And we're going to see how it goes. Obviously, that was not the most impressive game, Eric getting started with a Mulligan the 5 there. Not a whole lot that he could do. Pretty much every spell he cast was countered or killed immediately. But he's going to try again, because we play best of 3s.
Yeah, so he said his game plan going into the next game is to not Mulligan to 5.
That's a good game
plan.
plan.
See if he can stick to that.
I like that. That seems smart. I think that's just good, solid magic.
Okay, so did you talk about sideboarding?
No.
Do you think that opt came in?
You know, I think that Austin is going to opt to leave that one in the sideboard.
I would have opted to leave it out of my deck list. Okay, so there's a couple of cards in Eric's deck list that I think are really, really good.
So what does he have in the sideboard?
So the one of the first things that caught my eye is he has 4 Death Gorge Scavengers. Okay. That's the one that does the Scavenging Ooze effect when it comes into play or it attacks. Mm-hmm. And I think those are probably staying out. That's pretty obviously assigned to respecting the mono red deck.
Mono red, and you know, it has some splash damage there against the graveyard decks. In fact, actually, it's really better against the graveyard decks than it is against mono red. But
I mean, are there really graveyard decks anymore though? What
Godfarrow's Gift is great.
I guess so. I still think that it's probably better against the mono red decks, just because Godfarrow's Gift doesn't target.
Well, yeah, but you just eat all of the good ones.
Sure.
And if you can keep them off 6 creatures, then they can't activate their gate.
Yeah.
So that's true. You know.
Okay. Also, this is another spicy one, and I do believe this card is coming in. Is Samet Untested?
Oh. Yeah.
So I think it's called Samet Untested because it looks really bad. No one tested it. But I'm not entirely sure. But with the dinosaurs, it's actually a lot more effective. Being able to give your creatures haste is much more relevant in.
Yeah, and doesn't it give creatures double strike too, or something outrageous like that?
Yeah.
When you're giving your big dinosaur double strike, it's
pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Double the dinosaur.
Okay, so it looks like Eric missed a land drop, but he was able to follow up by casting Ranging Raptors, and that's really going to put a roadblock in the way for attacks from Austin, because he's pretty obviously doesn't want to give Eric another land. Mm-hmm. As we saw last game, really hitting that 4th and 5th land is really important for his deck.
Yeah, for sure. Eric's got a lot of expensive spells that he's in the market for. So, you know, getting to the requisite mana is very important. And that is more difficult in a deck like this because, of course, with the nature of having so many expensive spells, Eric has decided to play a lot of creatures that act as mana sources rather than lands. And unfortunately, those are mana sources that can be killed with removal spells.
Sure.
So the natural land count is a little bit lower. Is that a Savage Stomp?
That is.
That's a great.
That card is.
That's a
very
great
good.
play.
And it was basically probably his best card in his deck right now.
On this board, yeah.
It's 1 mana, destroy your creature, put a 1 counter on my creature, put a land into play, which just does a lot of. That's just a lot of stuff.
For 1 mana, that's quite a bit. Back in my day, we paid 1 mana for just the destroy your creature part of that card. Oh wait, we still do that.
Yeah, Fatal Push is really good.
Yeah.
Turns out. Confirmed. Well,
this card's great.
Okay, and here you're seeing one of the better cards in the format right now is Abrade, and we've seen 2 Abrades already, which have taken out 2 Cultivator Caravans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been, 2 mana, trading up to 3 mana. That's a legitimate threat for Austin. That also gets Austin's game plan. Making more mana is really important for his game plan.
Oh, yes. Now we're talking.
Okay,
I believe that is mechanized production.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is on a treasure token. Now, for those of you who don't know, mechanized production is an enchantment that you can put onto an artifact. That it says at the beginning of the upkeep, you put a token that's a copy of the enchanted artifact into play. And then, if you have, I believe, 10.
It's 8.
Is it 8?
It's 8.
If you have 8
of that
artifact,
you win the game.
You just win.
It's over.
Done. So, we're at 2. And as we know, Austin isn't relying just on that card to make treasures. He's got all kinds of cards in his deck that can produce treasures, like that one right there that he just played. 3.
Yep. Unfortunately, I think it might not be enough this game. We saw Registrar Alpha resolving last turn. And not only is it a big threat by itself, it also turns everything else into a giant threat.
Yes.
For example, this Carnage Tyrant, which is uncounterable, and also forces your opponent to concede.
Well, that's pretty good. We're going to just note it is currently 1-1. Like it says right there in the middle of the screen. 1-1.
Yeah, and that game looked a lot more like, I think, the games that Eric wins are going to look like that.
Dinosaurs.
Right? They're going to be, cast a 3 drop, try to keep hitting lands, and then all of a sudden you just have threats coming every single turn.
Of the decks on camera here, Eric's is certainly more conventional, because while the creatures he's playing are maybe not conventional themselves, his deck is doing something that we've seen before, and that's, I'm going to cast a bunch of dudes, I'm going to attack you with them,
Fight.
You're going to die.
Fight.
That's the goal. And of course it's backed up with a few removal spells. It's a great recipe. We've seen it many times. Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Those guys are big, and they're here to party.
Okay, so
now
what do you think changes after board? You see Austin looks like he's changing 1 card. Maybe not. Could be that opt coming back out.
So Austin's board is 1 opt, 2 disallow, 2 Vraska's Contempt, 2 Pirate's Prize, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 negate, 2 Essence Scatter, and 2 duress. So he's got a lot of various counter magic that he is available to him, a couple duresses. Really, the only card I see here that I think he's bringing in this matchup is Vraska's Contempt. A little bit slow, but it's a versatile removal spell that gains you a little life on the way. It's just generally good against decks that are playing large creatures.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine those Vraska's Contempts are not in the deck right now. They kill dinosaurs, they gain life, kind of does all the stuff you want to do. Mm-hmm. He probably doesn't realize this, but at this point there are probably 3 Planeswalkers in Eric's deck. And that's going to be really important to have a way to deal with those.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is certainly important, and it looks like Game 3 is underway. We've got a swamp from Austin to start it off.
Yeah, both keep 7.
I want to point out that the playmats that we've chosen to use here for the stream are somewhat unfair. We've got a dinosaur, and we've got a person who rides a dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good sign for Austin.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
kind of got rock paper scissors.
It seems like Eric certainly has the home field advantage.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like he led on Mountain into his Mana Dork. So okay, that's a great draw. That's a hash up Oasis.
Yeah.
That is the desert that you can sacrifice to give your creature +2/+2.
I think it's +3/+3. But he's also got some really cheap dinosaurs. But he doesn't have any dinosaurs.
Nope, not in play currently. And we see a Tezzeret resolving here. It's going to be really important to get a good chunk of this loyalty off of the Tezzeret right now.
I mean, if he has a Regisaur Alpha, he can just kill it.
Yeah, that card's quite good.
Or if he has something like Burning Sun's Avatar, which I'm not sure is in his deck.
Yeah, also good, Carnage Tyrant.
Carnage Tyrant, pretty good.
Uncountable.
When it only costs
7/6
4 mana and it has haste.
It's pretty good.
That is.
All right, so Tezzeret just turned into a 4-mana Lotus Petal.
4-mana Lotus Petal, but
again,
importantly,
as we talked about before,
he gained 7 life. Kind of.
Maybe. I think he's gonna have a really hard. I think Austin's gonna have a really hard time dealing with this Carnage Tyrant. Looking at his deck list, I'm not really sure he has a way to remove it outside of just putting a whole bunch of dudes in front of it.
Yeah, I think blocking it in combat is the only way that he has to actually get that off the table.
And I'm thinking it's kind of unlikely at this point that he's gonna be able to put up 6 power fast enough to not just die to it.
He could easily have something like the Scarab God here, which does a good job of kind of creating its own army. Only one of that in Austin's deck, unfortunately. Yeah, at this point, it looks like that's going to be a hard task, and Eric's still got more cards in his hand. I mean...
That's kind of the trick with the aggro decks, though, right? If you die with a bunch of cards in your hand, it didn't matter how many you had.
No, Eric has cards in his hand, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Austin can beat just the Carnage Tyrant right now.
And it's very unlikely he's going to be able to beat both.
Carnage Tyrant plus anything else. In his hand. Yeah. So, Eric reading the card that he killed. Just, a little bit of BM thrown in there.
What is that?
What does that do?
Does it do anything in the graveyard?
Nothing.
No, not likely. All right.
Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. So this is another way for Austin to win the game with treasures.
I'm pretty sure a 7/6 is going to kill him faster, unfortunately.
Well, you don't know that.
Okay.
So that is Revel in Riches. Costs 5 mana. When it comes into play, you get 3 treasures. Anytime a creature your opponent controls dies, you get a treasure. And if you have 8 treasures, or no, this one is 10, I think.
10.
This one's 10. If you have 10 treasures at the beginning of your turn, you win. Yeah, he's not getting to 10 treasures.
Yeah, we just see Samet tested, untested. Here.
Untested.
And that was
could be tested now.
That was basically a 4 mana
Carnage Tyrant.
Lava Spike and Shock, really, basically.
Yeah. 7 you.
Yeah. And I have another 7 coming around again next turn.
I mean, it's pretty much Nicol Bolas.
Yeah.
Except you get to 7 them every turn, and it costs 4.
Yeah, I think this is just showing you the power of Carnage Tyrant, really.
Card's good.
That card's just very, very hard to remove.
And I mean...
And I don't think Austin really came prepared with the deck, came prepared to be able to beat 4 Carnage Tyrants. That's just too many Carnage Tyrants.
And generally, you're not going to see Carnage Tyrant be this good, but Eric has built his deck in a way to really maximize the mileage that he's getting out of that card. I mean, this game, we saw him cast it for 4 mana,
on turn
and it
4.
had haste.
Yeah.
I mean...
It doesn't get
And
a lot
here's
better
a
than
Scarab God from Austin, but I think
I think Scarab God might be the best card in Standard, and I think it's not even going to be close to enough right here.
I think that Austin is Dobbs, as we say in the business.
We don't say, nobody says that.
Pretty sure they say that.
No.
I'm fairly confident that I heard
Twitch chat,
a
let us
professional
know. Twitch chat, let us know
Magic
if anyone's
caster
ever said that.
say that. They said that.
Okay, so I do believe you're right though. I think he is dead on board.
Now, if you're Eric, what do you name with that unclaimed territory that just came into play?
What's Samet?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A human, maybe?
Probably dinosaur.
See, I think this is a situation where you definitely don't name dinosaur.
You're right. You don't want to give up on the BM value.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cat, maybe?
Cat. Could be.
Uncle Istvan would be a good one. That's a creature
I don't.
type.
Is it really?
Well, it was. It's been errated. All right, and here we see a Regisaur Alpha, and yeah, so he's gonna really, really, really kill him, I think.
I think that Austin will be going to a life total that is very high in the negatives.
Yeah, the absolute value of his life
Which
total
is the opposite of where you want your life total to be. But there you have it. Austin will die. Eric has won our first round here with his green-red dinosaurs deck, which is fun. That's fun. Dinosaurs stomping some people here at Story Champs. Just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I think what we saw here is Austin was kind of excited to come play, a little bit of a different deck. But the problem is if you're going to go really off the walls and you're going to go with a really strong synergy, you probably just really need your win condition to cost less than 4 or 5 mana.
And it really depends, I think, on a couple of things. The first is how often do the cards in your deck allow you to actually get to your win condition? And then how often do you actually win when you cast your win condition? And I think the second one is where Austin is really struggling here, because we saw him actually cast one of his win conditions in both the games that he lost.
And they were really, really not close to winning the game.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not even remotely close. And that, you see Austin pulling Marionette Master there. That's one of his other win conditions, which would have been great in that game.
He only had 1 artifact.
He had 4, I believe, because I think the Revel in Riches gives you 3 when it enters play.
Oh, maybe we just missed a.
I think he just didn't. He just didn't have them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he would have been one. He would have been one mana or 1 artifact short of actually just killing Eric.
I don't think so, because he can't make. Right. Okay, so he had 4 in play.
He would have had 4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 1 short.
1 short.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good.
I would have been
very good.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. But as it is Dinosaurs who win the day. That will be moving on to the 1-0 bracket.
And it is worth pointing out that Austin's not eliminated.
Oh, no.
This is a tournament that cuts to top 8 from 16. So if you get 3 wins, you're definitely in. 2 1-1 also guarantees you in. And yeah, just math.
Okay. I think it depends how many people there are that have draws.
I don't think it does, because somebody had to lose those 2 games to everybody else. Just never mind.
Okay.
We'll get back to this, and I'll explain math to Matt at some point.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think the biggest issue with Austin's deck is he was playing cards that are trying to help him win, in a unique way, but they're not very good on their own.
No.
He's playing a 2-mana 2/1 that gives you a Lotus Petal when it dies, which is not that great. It's fine, but it's not amazing.
Is it when it dies or when it enters play?
When it dies.
Oh.
Yeah. He's also playing a 4-mana artifact, or 4-mana enchantment that has to enchant an artifact and starts making copies of it next turn, which again is just not that strong.
That's 4 mana, get a Lotus Petal every turn.
It's 4 mana, get a Lotus Petal starting next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. which again I just don't think it's very good.
It's not. It's not. The upside is that card has written on it, sometimes you win the game.
Yeah, if you untap.
If you untap.
Yeah, if you untap a Scarab God, you usually win the game too, and that card's actually good on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was an interesting deck, pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, I
think it might need some tuning before it's real competitive.
Potentially, I hope we see Austin pick up a couple wins, maybe join us in the top 8 later today, because definitely his deck is the coolest one.
Also has the best name.
It does. Plunder the Booty.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, is the booty.
Arg. Yeah.
All right, I think we're going to take a quick break, take a lap around the room,